Do you have any other perspectives on this conflict? Mr. Somali, the incoming president, what new policies will you implement upon taking office? Previously, under the international manhunt, Al-Shabaab was like rats in the sewers, unable to see the light of day. He always envied them. He hoped that one day he could stand on a glamorous stage, just like those recognized political elites and tycoons, speaking eloquently. But now that the moment has arrived, he realized how troublesome it was. The reporter's questions gave him a headache. Yet to maintain his image now that he was on the right track, he couldn't afford to be as carefree as before. He answered the reporter's questions earnestly. Seeing the time was right, Jiang Yi stepped forward to break the tension. Alright everyone, that's all for today's press conference. I've said pretty much everything I wanted to say. With that, Jiang Yi turned and walked away. The reporters, naturally, were reluctant to end it, hoping to extract more information from Jiang Yi. Alpha stepped forward to block all reporters. He then signaled for the on-site security personnel to step in and restore order. Mahmoud stood frozen in place, utterly flustered. It wasn't until several security guards arrived that they escorted him away. This time, he was not taken into custody. Instead, he was taken directly to Jiang Yi's office. Inside the office, Jiang Yi sat in his chair. Beside him sat Henry. The solemn atmosphere nearly crushed Mahmoud. He sensed a military-like aura emanating from Henry, as if he might send him to his grave at any moment. This wasn't something ordinary people possessed. It was the unique aura of someone who had undoubtedly taken many lives. Sit. Jiang Yi had someone bring Mahmoud a chair. Mahmoud jumped in surprise, hastily protesting, No, I'll stand. Standing is fine, standing is fine. Don't be afraid. I won't kill you. Jiang Yi knew exactly what Mahmoud was thinking. He was afraid of death. He simply cherished his life. But controlling him would bring Jiang Yi far greater benefits than killing him. Hearing Jiang Yi's words, Mahmoud secretly breathed a sigh of relief, yet he still dared not relax. Jiang Yi said he wouldn't kill him. He didn't say what would happen to him afterward. Imprisoning him for the rest of his life. That would be worse than death. Footsteps sounded outside the door. Led by several attendants, Dalai also entered the office. Your Majesty. Compared to Mahmoud, Dalai carried himself with far greater ease. Upon entering, he first greeted Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi nodded and gestured toward Mahmoud. You two are old acquaintances, aren't you? Mahmoud flinched slightly. During his tenure, he had enacted numerous constitutional measures to suppress the Somali Youth Party. Friends? Hardly. More like mortal enemies. Dalai flashed Mahmoud a smile. Mr. Former President, I'll need your counsel on many matters concerning the Somali kingdom going forward. As for past grievances, shall we call it even? That would be best. He feared Dalai might hold a grudge and that would spell trouble for him. No need for formalities. Ask me anything you wish to know. Having served for so many years, I'm well versed in matters both great and small. Mahmoud said with flattery. Just 2 days ago, he was still the president of a nation. Now he's been reduced to a prisoner. The psychological blow was immense. But to survive, this was nothing. His life came first. He understood that well enough. Very well. You two should communicate more and strive to get the Somali kingdom back on track as soon as possible. Jiang Yi instructed, Oh, and regarding those pirates over there, they need to be dealt with decisively. They can't be allowed to run rampant like before. As for the new decrees, I'll have someone deliver them to you shortly. Just enact them as written. For any other reforms, you can consult the people I've sent over. Jiang Yi placed great trust in Dalai. But that didn't mean he trusted him completely. After all, this man was originally just a bandit leader who had come ashore. Fundamentally, his vision, strategic insight, remained rooted in his former ways. Therefore, Jiang Yi's appointment of him was merely to install a relatively acceptable puppet figure in power. The real authority remained firmly in the hands of the Yaman kingdom. As for Mahmoud, he must remain in the kingdom of Yaman for now. The Somali kingdom is too unsafe. Sending him there risks him being rescued by Lighthouse Nation forces or assassinated at any moment. Because to the Lighthouse Nation, has become useless. Keeping him around might even pose a threat. Jiang Yi, however, needs to keep Mahmoud for now. Besides providing intelligence on the Somali kingdom to facilitate governance, he might still find use for him someday. After Dalai departed, Jiang Yi had Mahmoud escorted away as well. He then began reviewing the recent financial reports of the Yaman kingdom sent by Charles. The Yaman satellite system had now officially become a major new revenue stream for the Yaman kingdom. This development has once again elevated the economy of the kingdom of Yemen. Had undergone another qualitative leap. Chapter 228, Supporting a Puppet, True Power. After the incident unfolded, for a long time afterward, the Lighthouse Nation plunged into chaos. For they discovered, no matter what measures they employed, they seemed powerless to effectively halt the rise of the Yemen kingdom. Obama panicked, and the entire Lighthouse Nation panicked. There was another matter. It was another headache for the Lighthouse Nation. Ever since Jiang Yi mediated the conflict between Shashi and Ichiro, Sash's attitude toward the Lighthouse Nation had suddenly turned extremely cold. Remember what Sasa used to be like? He practically groveled at their feet every year, eager to secure weapons from the Lighthouse Nation. He enthusiastically maintained contact, signing all sorts of contracts and agreements. But now, Sasara's attitude has completely changed. The very thing the Lighthouse Nation feared most was about to happen. Sashin has switched allegiance to the Dragon Nation or perhaps the Yaman Kingdom. And such an outcome is absolutely unacceptable to the Lighthouse Nation. Because their dollar hegemony system was built upon its relationship with Sanset. Losing Sands, the global US dollar hegemony system would crumble. Consequently, allowing the Dragon Nation or the Big Goose to seize the initiative and rise to prominence. The Lighthouse Nation has repeatedly reached out to the Sand State specifically for this purpose. It attempted to lure Sands into renewed trust through empty promises. But Shah Jahan isn't fooled. They didn't buy a word of the Lighthouse Nation's nonsense. Still no luck? Obama hung up the phone. Just moments ago, he had once again proposed renewing the soon-to-expire oil agreement with Shashi. But the other side refused, saying they needed more time to consider. They must have been swayed by the Kingdom of Yaman. Who knows what they've been fed? Smith's face was flushed with anger. Back to the topic at hand. The conversation circled back to how to deal with the Kingdom of Yaman. Meanwhile, Yisili was not idle. They maintained relentless assaults on the Gashat region. They also utilized intelligence provided by their intelligence organization, Mossad. They were devising ways to confront the Yaman Kingdom within the borders of the Kingdom of Nahiya. Following the previous purge, all spies were wiped out. This made it nearly impossible for Mossad to obtain intelligence from the Kingdom of Yaman. Left with no other choice, they resorted to their old tricks. Spreading rumors and smearing reputations, manipulating public opinion. They used public opinion to suppress the Kingdom of Yaman. Thus, online, while the Kingdom of Yaman consistently maintained high popularity, negative news about it never ceases. Regarding this, Zhang Yi doesn't really care. The public can discern for themselves. Not many fools would be swayed so easily. Only when certain matters warrant attention would he call in global media for clarification. And it was precisely under the relentless smear campaign orchestrated by figures like Xiao Lai that Zhang Yi's side, however, kept receiving good news. Though crippled by Zhang Yi, the Somali government forces remained a formidable force against other local factions. Leveraging the strength of al-Shabaab, defeating the government forces was originally a daunting task. However, following Mahmoud's press conference, all his former factions, along with portions of the Somali Kingdom government forces not under Zhang Yi's control, all chose to surrender. Ali thus easily took control of the Somali Kingdom and, following Zhang Yi's instructions, began purging the kingdom. Within a few days, they achieved significant results. Through this campaign, the Yaman Kingdom had firmly established its authority and prestige across the entire world. No one had anticipated the conflict would conclude in such a manner. Official representatives from various nations, when evaluating the strength of the Yaman Kingdom, they unanimously ranked it among the top 10. This was already an exceptionally high assessment. After all, the world contained a full 200 nations. Zhang Yi decided to take a proper rest. Prolonged use of the descent function placed significant strain on his body. Fortunately, Zhang Yi possessed strong regenerative abilities. Overall, it wasn't a major issue. Day 3. Zhang Yi logged back into the game to handle state affairs when one matter caught his attention. Oh, the Lighthouse Nation has been acting rather anxious lately. It seems they've noticed that Sanshar and the Dragon Nation have been getting too close to us, worrying that their US dollar hegemony might be threatened. That's why they've been in frequent contact with Sanshar. In the past week alone, the Lighthouse Nation's Secretary of State has visited Sanshar for the 4th time. The specifics of the visit, however, have not been made public. Charles explained. This matter is actually insignificant. Because deep down, Sandstone harbors a profound hatred for the Beacon Nation. It was the Lighthouse Nation that plunged Sandstone and Ichiro into years of war. It's unlikely they'll overcome that hatred so quickly to resume cooperation with the Lighthouse Nation. But Zhang Yi noticed it, so he made a point to mention it. Zhang Yi smiled. It was clear the Lighthouse Nation was genuinely growing desperate. Had they reached the point of visiting 4 times a week? Was this intelligence relayed by the Intelligence Department? Zhang Yi inquired. There are spies from the Kingdom of Yaman over at Shatan. Yes. Charles nodded. Zhang Yi continued, keep an eye out. If anything happens in Shashi, report it to me immediately. Zhang Yi's understanding of the Easterners. Many nations have a rather short-sighted outlook. Zhang Yi feared that Shasha would eventually be persuaded by the Lighthouse Nation, so he had to take action himself. Sure enough, 2 days later, bad news arrived. Zhang Yi was on the observation deck, gazing down at the nightscape of the Kingdom of Yaman. Charles appeared behind him, accompanied by an intelligence officer. Your Majesty, to sway Shazai, the Lighthouse Nation has decided to sell them a batch of their latest F-35 fighter jets. HM? Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow. They're bringing out the F-35s? Is the intelligence reliable? Charles's tone held no hesitation. Absolutely reliable. It seems the Lighthouse Nation is dead set on this. Sandstorm, that kind of big shot. They're not short on cash. What they lack most is military might only that can guarantee their national security. And the F-35 has always been one of the most advanced 5th-generation fighters in the world. Sashin has coveted it for years. They had repeatedly expressed interest in purchasing it. But such advanced aircraft, with their high technological content, are something the Lighthouse Nation dares not sell. Even if Singapore offered exorbitant sums, the sale would not be permitted. Globally, only Italy has managed to acquire F-35s from the United States. After all, they share a father-son relationship. Who would have thought that to win back Shash's favor, they'd even bring out the F-35 trump card? Jiang Yi knew. For Sands, this was an almost irresistible temptation. No one could turn down the world's most advanced fifth-generation fighter jet. These Dongzhou people are just unreliable. As the two spoke, Henry approached from behind, arms crossed over his chest. He halted about 4 or 5 meters from Jiang Yi and bowed. Your Majesty, should we intervene and teach Shashi a lesson to make them remember? Henry's temper remained as fiery as ever. Ready to start a fight at the drop of a hat. No, let's observe the situation first. See what stance Shashi takes. Jiang Yi glanced at Charles. Sasha hasn't formally responded yet, has he? Charles shook his head. Not yet. Chapter 230, Global Defense Exhibition. Good. Jiang Yi crossed his legs and instructed, oh, and show me our arms export list again. Charles acknowledged the request. He turned to fetch the list. Taking advantage of the moment, Jiang Yi turned to Henry and assigned him a task. Henry, I have a task for you. Your Majesty, please speak. Henry perked up at the request. Over the next couple of days, you'll travel to the Dragon Kingdom. Discuss the matter of Sandow with them. Once you arrive, I'll give you further instructions. Following the war in the Somali Kingdom, the Dragon Kingdom had been in frequent contact with Jiang Yi. Yet many matters proved too complex to resolve over the phone. Jiang Yi had intended to pay another visit to the Dragon Kingdom. But it seems he can't leave the country for the time being. Any developments in the Somali Kingdom require Jiang Yi's personal command. So he thought. He decided to send Henry in his place. As one of his most capable generals, Henry possessed both the qualifications and ability to handle the matter effectively. No problem. Henry agreed immediately. At that moment, Charles returned with the list. Handing it to Jiang Yi, he reported, Your Majesty, arms sales ranked 6th in our overall quarterly revenue. The top 5 were oil, natural gas, mineral exports, Alzheimer's drugs, and satellite navigation systems. To be honest, this result came as a surprise to Jiang Yi. He had always believed arms sales should rank among the top 3 revenue sources for the Kingdom of Yamen. Yet it had landed in 5th place. Even the recently launched satellite navigation technology had surpassed arms exports. After glancing at the list, Jiang Yi finally understood what was happening. Up to now, the countries importing weapons from the Kingdom of Yamen were all small nations. For example, Costa Rica, St. Lucia, Andorra, Iceland, and others. Many of these nations were virtually unknown. Thanks to the super factories constructed by the system, significantly reduced the cost of weapon development for the Yamen Kingdom. Its export pricing strategy emphasizes affordability. Given that these nations possess relatively modest average economic strength, they naturally opt to collaborate with the Yamen Kingdom. Furthermore, due to their small territorial size, and their military forces are small, they require fewer armed personnel. This results in their orders being small in scale. Thus, the profits generated are correspondingly modest. As for major powers collaborating with the Kingdom of Yamen, it's not that there are none, but they are few. Currently, only the Dragon Nation and Ichiro. Among them, the arms trade volume between the Dragon Nation and the Yamen Kingdom accounts for a staggering 39% of the Yamen Kingdom's total in this sector. There is another reason. The current external perception of the Kingdom of Yamen's military strength largely centers on its air force. Whether it was the previous war with Yisili or this recent conflict where mere bombing campaigns shattered the Somali Kingdom's forces. Because its air force is so overwhelmingly powerful. This has led other nations to overlook the Yamen Kingdom's land-based military capabilities. Furthermore, other major powers have long established their own specialized supply chains through years of development. Consequently, very few major powers would actually consider importing weapons from the Kingdom of Yemen. After all, nations that have never engaged in actual combat with the Kingdom of Yemen. It's hard to grasp just how formidable the weapons produced by the Kingdom of Yemen truly are. Based on Jiang Yi's current understanding of global demand for weapon imports, and their demand for weapon imports, if he could find an opportunity to showcase them properly and let the world see just how formidable Yemen Kingdom's weapons are, then it would surely elevate the arms trade into one of the kingdom's premier super industries. Jiang Yi identified numerous potential clients such as the A-triple nations. These nations possess vast armies, yet their weak military industrial bases prevent independent production of large quantities of weapons and equipment. Therefore, they heavily rely on imports. Annual import expenditures exceed at least tens of billions of US dollars. If the Kingdom of Yi didn't earn this money, it would all go to the Big Goose and the Lighthouse Nation. If Jiang Yi remembers correctly, not long ago, the 3 Arab nations signed a massive $12.1 billion order with the Lighthouse Nation. Then there's Sand State, no need to elaborate. The largest arms importer in the East Continent region, without a doubt. What piqued Jiang Yi's interest, however, was actually another nation, Qatar, practically a twin to Singapore. Don't be fooled by its small land area. Geopolitical factors stemming from their location and strategic requirements. Their demand for arms imports remains substantial. Currently, their largest arms supplier remains the United States. Other suppliers include the land down under, Pakistan, the football nation Ukraine, and so on. If we could seize all these contracts, not only would it boost the economy of the Kingdom of Yemen, propelling its arms industry to take off and leapfrog to become the world's largest arms dealer, it would also deal a fatal blow to the Lighthouse Nation's monopoly over the global arms trade. At this thought, Jiang Yi grew increasingly eager to act. After a moment's thought, Jiang Yi turned to Charles and said, "Here's what we'll do. Announce that we'll host a global defense exhibition in 1 week. Any invited nation may send representatives to attend without restriction." The sudden recollection of arms deals. It was actually because of the Lighthouse Nation's reminder. The Lighthouse Nation wanted to use the F-35 to lure Sandstorm back into their camp. Why couldn't Jiang Yi employ the same tactic to draw in a wave of Sandow? The weapons of the Yi Kingdom were all produced by the system's super factories. When it came to performance, Jiang Yi had never feared anyone. Therefore, Jiang Yi intends to engage in a comprehensive technological competition with the Lighthouse Nation. To engage in a comprehensive technological competition. Let Sanda make their own choice. And in the process, give the world a proper showcase of his own military production. Killing two birds with one stone. Understood, Your Majesty. A man as astute as Charles couldn't possibly be unaware of Jiang Yi's motives. After brief preparations, Charles instructed the Ministry of Information to release the announcement precisely at noon. Yemen Kingdom, to promote international military exchange and cooperation and enhance global defense capabilities, our nation will host a grand international defense exhibition 1 week from today. This exhibition will gather the world's top defense contractors, military experts, and representatives from various nations to showcase the most advanced weaponry and equipment. We cordially invite all nations to participate. Upon its release, the defense exhibition immediately garnered global attention. A defense exhibition? Can ordinary people attend? I'd love to see what's out there. What big move is the Kingdom of Yemen planning now? Seriously? They just dropped this announcement out of nowhere? Wonder what cutting-edge tech we'll get to see. Forget it, this is a gathering for the bigwigs. It's got nothing to do with ordinary folks. Besides the online buzz, the online hype, leaders from various countries aren't taking it lightly either. They've prioritized it immediately. There's a growing sense that the Kingdom of Yemen is making a major move. So they all submitted applications, hoping to participate. Within less than an hour of the announcement, over 60 national representatives had already submitted their requests. Chapter 231, Global Attention Focused, the Lighthouse Nation panics. Countries recognize this as an excellent opportunity to gain further insight into the military capabilities of the Beacon Nation. If they encounter something they like, they can purchase it. Strengthen their national defense capabilities. Among them were a series of wealthy nations in East Asia, led by countries like Singapore, Iran, Qatar, Dubai, Bahrain, and others. They placed great importance on this defense exhibition. Sarawak. Salam was currently holding a crucial military political meeting with all Sarawak's top officials. They had just received news that the Kingdom of Yemen was launching a defense exhibition. So they took the opportunity to discuss this matter. The Kingdom of Yemen suddenly convening a defense exhibition, I suspect it's not that straightforward. Should we wait and see and respond to the Lighthouse Nation later? Salman's voice was hoarse. His gaze swept across everyone present. Marshal Rashid of the Sand Army nodded firmly. Yes, Your Excellency. I concur. The Kingdom of Yemen possesses formidable military strength. We should wait until after their defense exhibition concludes before deciding whether to purchase equipment from Lighthouse Nation. The Lighthouse Nation has shown great sincerity this time. They've even brought out the F-35s. It must be noted that prior to this, Shatai had repeatedly proposed purchasing F-35s from the Lighthouse Nation. Each time, the Lighthouse Nation had firmly rejected the requests. Therefore, when the Lighthouse Nation now proposed delivering the F-5s, the entire top leadership of Sandia was shaken and thrilled. Both sides agreed to finalize the order during the U.S. Secretary of State's upcoming visit to Sandow in 3 days. But who could have predicted? A third party suddenly intervened. The Kingdom of Yemen unexpectedly announced it would host a defense exhibition at this very moment. The exhibition was bound to showcase some promising technology. Having already committed to the Lighthouse Nation, would they now purchase another batch from the Yemen Kingdom? They're rich, but not stupid. Buying too many weapons just means they'll gather dust in warehouses, completely useless. Not to mention, acquiring many sophisticated systems requires additional annual expenditures for maintenance, hiring technicians for inspections, and so on. Mr. President, the Lighthouse Nation Embassy requests an audience. Oh? What do they want? Salman turned his head toward the conference room door, where a security guard had appeared. I don't know. They didn't say, only that it's urgent and they wish to see you. Tell them to wait. Salman waved impatiently. Rashid wondered aloud, an urgent request at this hour? Probably about the order again. Are they starting to panic? Salman smiled faintly. Let them fret. A little urgency might do them good. The very thought of the Lighthouse Nation's actions made him sick. Therefore, under equal conditions, Salman would rather cooperate with the Kingdom of Yemen than with the Lighthouse Nation. Rashid snorted coldly. Those bastards. They caused our misunderstanding with Ichiro for all these years, wasting so many years of war. Meanwhile, they've been turning a profit behind the scenes. Sooner or later, they'll have to spit out everything they've swallowed. The Marshal is right. The Lighthouse Nation deserves its punishment. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine. Let the Lighthouse Nation know that the world order is no longer dictated by them alone. Exactly. And they expect us to renew the oil agreement? What a joke. Rashid's sarcastic remark. The room erupted in chaos. Every high-ranking official in Sandstorm cursed the Lighthouse Nation furiously. Their actions knew no bounds. When dealing with a country that devours its victims whole, there's no need for mercy. Because their national strength was inferior. Waging war was out of the question, they couldn't win. But refusing to cooperate? That they can certainly manage. They must inflict crippling damage on the lighthouse nation. Make them live in constant unease. The meeting concluded. Salman made the representatives from the Lighthouse Nation embassy, including Robert, wait nearly 2 hours before finally receiving them. This left Robert deeply dissatisfied. When he saw Solomon, he gave him a cold reception. Mr. President, I never imagined it would be this difficult for us from the Lighthouse Nation to secure a meeting with you. Facing Robert's sarcastic remark, Solomon responded bluntly, if you wish to meet me, shouldn't you respect my schedule? I was in a meeting. Now, what business do you have with me? Speak. Regarding the Yaman defense exhibition this time, should Sandow submit an application? Robert didn't beat around the bush. Hearing Solomon's tone, he cut straight to the point. Yes, we have. Is there a problem? Mr. Solomon, don't let the kingdom of Yaman fool you. Their so-called defense exhibition is nothing but a gimmick, all flash and no substance. I advise you to settle down and focus on collaborating with us. Oh? So whatever you say goes? Salman's expression darkened. Robert let out a bitter laugh. Not exactly. It's just that this time, our Lighthouse Nation has shown great sincerity. We genuinely wish to cooperate with your Sand Kingdom. If you miss this opportunity, we can't guarantee when the next one will come. The words sounded like a threat. Yet when Solomon heard it, he couldn't help but chuckle. Because the Beacon Nation was desperate. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent someone over so urgently to say these things. Salman rose, hands behind his back, and walked toward the window. His gaze fixed on the scenery outside. He remarked calmly, with whom we choose to cooperate seems to be our prerogative, doesn't it? Besides, we haven't formally signed any cooperation agreement with the Lighthouse Nation yet. Rest assured, commercial partnerships are all about mutual benefit. If the fighter jets and weapons your Lighthouse Nation offers provide better value for money, we'll naturally choose you, won't we, Mr. Robert? Robert was momentarily speechless. His mind seemed to short-circuit. He didn't know how to counter Solomon's argument. The situation was exactly as Solomon had described. The Lighthouse Nation was indeed growing desperate. All the high-ranking officials could see it. The Kingdom of Yemen's defense exhibition this time was clearly targeting the Lighthouse Nation. The Lighthouse Nation exports massive quantities of weapons worldwide every year. They rake in huge profits. Arms trade is also one of the Lighthouse Nation's largest economic sources. If the Yaman Kingdom's defense exhibition succeeds, and other nations witness the Kingdom of Yaman's advanced weaponry and superior cost-effectiveness compared to theirs, guess what will happen? What would happen? The Lighthouse Nation's arms orders would be slashed in half, suffering a devastating blow. Especially now with Sandstain. They were counting on this arms deal, specifically selling F-35s to bring Sanda back into the Northern Alliance camp. If Sandia truly changed its stance at the Yaman defense exhibition, what would become of them? That's why the subsequent events unfolded. An urgent call came from the Lighthouse Nation, instructing Robert to visit Sandia for negotiations at all costs. But the situation arose suddenly. Robert clearly arrived unprepared. By the time the talks commenced, he lacked a relatively reasonable justification to persuade President Solomon of Sanda. Chapter 232, The World's Strongest Sixth-Generation Fighter? Ahem. Well, Mr. Solomon, the Lighthouse Nation actually places great importance on our bilateral relations. I know there have been certain misunderstandings between us, but you must believe these are all deliberate smears against us. Robert began playing the sympathy card. However, he shouldn't have brought this up. The moment he did, Solomon's expression darkened visibly. Both witnesses and evidence were present. Shansen Ichiro had cross-referenced records for days, all the conflicts and skirmishes over the years. Every single one matched up perfectly. Proving the mastermind behind it all was the Lighthouse Nation. And you call this a misunderstanding? If it's a misunderstanding, why doesn't the Lighthouse Nation present more compelling evidence instead of just talking? If he trusted the Lighthouse Nation again, that would be sheer stupidity. Robert glanced at Solomon's expression and realized he'd said the wrong thing. He quickly changed the subject. You see, beyond the F-35 fighters, the Lighthouse Nation's military cooperation with Sandstain actually encompasses various other advanced weapons, both naval and land-based. As you know, the Yaman Kingdom's own naval strength is so weak that they couldn't possibly assist Sandstain in that domain. The Lighthouse Nation certainly had the confidence to make such a claim. Just look at their fleet of 11 super carriers. That's a force capable of instilling despair in most nations worldwide. The unmanned combat vessels exposed by the Kingdom of Yaman are formidable. But compared to a fleet of 11 super carriers, they still pale in comparison, at least in everyone's eyes. For a moment, Salman was genuinely moved. Fifth-generation fighters, plus the latest naval and land-based weaponry. The Lighthouse Nation was pulling out all the stops to win them over. Securing this partnership, at the very least, it would significantly boost Sandow's strength, propelling its military power several ranks higher on the global stage. Alright, I won't disturb you further. President Solomon, take your time to consider this. Your response can come later. We're simply acting in the interests of both nations and our bilateral relationship, nothing more. Robert rose and departed. Salman symbolically sent someone to escort Robert part of the way. After he departed, Salman plunged into deep contemplation. He debated whether to attend the Yaman Kingdom's defense exhibition. In the end, he decided he must attend, absolutely must attend. For the same reason. His heart may have been stirred. But upon reflection, Solomon didn't place much trust in the lighthouse nation's words. Therefore, he must prepare for all eventualities. Leave a backdoor open for Shashi. Otherwise, if he truly believed the lighthouse nation's promises and they later reneged, Solomon would have nowhere to turn. Throughout history, examples of the lighthouse nation breaking its word were plentiful. He was afraid. After Robert returned, he immediately relayed the news to the lighthouse nation's high command. Mark, who was planning the next move against the Kingdom of Yemen from his office in the Pentagon, Mark, who was planning the next strategy against the Kingdom of Yemen, instinctively furrowed his brow. A sense of unease stirred within him. It was clear that Sandstein had brushed them off. We were just about to collaborate with Sands, and now they're pulling this defense exhibition stunt. Are they deliberately trying to thwart us? Smith's expression grew grave. It's too obvious. Why did the Yemen Kingdom have to hold their defense exhibition right now? What kind of coincidence is that? It's possible, but... Mark realized a terrifying possibility. How did they find out about our collaboration with Sandstone? This is a state-level secret. Until confirmed, it remains top-secret information impossible to leak. So if the Kingdom of Yemen is truly targeting them, there's one crucial point we must address. How did the Kingdom of Yemen obtain internal intelligence revealing that the lighthouse nation intended to collaborate with Sunda? A terrifying thought. Simultaneously, a thought surfaced in both Mark and Smith's minds. Spies. Either within their own ranks or among the upper echelons of Sandow, there was a spy from the Kingdom of Yemen. At this realization, Mark and Smith's expressions turned as sour as if they'd swallowed a fly. Espionage. The lighthouse nation was the grandmaster of this game. They'd always been the ones spying on others. When had it become their turn to suffer losses in this arena? This was an utter disgrace. Impossible. It couldn't be us. There's no way anyone from the Kingdom of Yemen is on our side. It must be the Sand State. Smith dismissed the notion. Precisely because spies are so formidable and crucial. That's precisely why the lighthouse nation maintains such stringent security measures in this area. The Yemen Kingdom has only existed for a few months. It's impossible for them to have infiltrated this deeply so quickly. But Shashi was different. The lighthouse nation's spies can easily infiltrate Sandset, so they know Sandset's defenses in this regard aren't particularly stringent. Shashi really is something. Mark sighed in exasperation. What now? Smith pondered for a moment before replying, I don't know. But rest assured, since we've already deployed the F-35s, I refuse to believe Shashi won't be tempted. They won't be able to resist the allure. 5th-generation fighter. It can almost be called the most powerful fighter jet on this planet. Currently, only 3 nations possess their own 5th-generation fighters. They are the Dragon Nation, the Big Goose, and the Lighthouse Nation. How formidable are 5th-generation fighters? Let's put it this way. They possess stealth capabilities that utterly outclass all other fighter jets, meaning in modern combat, a 5th-generation fighter facing off against others is like a sighted person fighting a blind opponent. They also boast exceptional maneuverability, supersonic cruise capability, and advanced avionics systems. They are equipped with highly intelligent sensors, electronic warfare systems, and more, enabling precise target detection, information fusion, and analysis. Each of these capabilities alone is enough to make opponents feel utterly hopeless. This has led to countries worldwide are desperately striving to develop their own 5th-generation fighters. China was a prime example back then. To develop its own 5th-generation fighter? Behind the scenes, it's impossible to know how much sweat and money were poured into the effort before they finally succeeded. Therefore, Smith believes their F-35 is an offer the Sand Kingdom absolutely cannot refuse. The Kingdom of Yemen, though possessing its own 5th-generation fighter, and its performance far surpasses that of their F-35. This point was readily apparent from previous engagements. The Yemen Kingdom's 5th-generation aircraft surpassed theirs by an entire tier. Indeed, many military experts in the Lighthouse Nation estimate that aircraft is already infinitely close to a 6th-generation fighter, the strongest on Earth. But so what? Smith did not believe the Kingdom of Yemen would publicly sell such fighters worldwide, because that was the Kingdom of Yemen's ace in the hole. It was precisely through such fighter jets that the Kingdom of Yemen established its foothold in East Continent and flexed its military might before the world. Once the Kingdom of Yemen sells it, other nations would gain access to this fighter jet, acquiring equal strength. What advantage would the Kingdom of Yemen have left? Chapter 233. The bet continues. Zhang Ye's stakes. Therefore, to ensure its strength remains unmatched and its aerial superiority preserved, the Kingdom of Yemen absolutely cannot sell it. On the contrary, they're scrambling to keep it under wraps. After all, if other nations obtain such fighters, they would inevitably conduct covert research on the aircraft specifications. Before long, powers like the Dragon Nation and the Big Goose might achieve technological breakthroughs and develop their own 6th-generation fighters. Oh, and that includes the Lighthouse Nation too. The growth of our adversaries is a form of decline. But the Lighthouse Nation is different. The Lighthouse Nation possesses substantial air power. Beyond the F-35 fighter jets, they maintain a diverse aerial arsenal. First, the Lighthouse Nation possesses a large number of pilots. These personnel undergo rigorous training and possess extremely high combat capabilities. It maintains a fleet exceeding 14,000 aircraft of all types. This includes fighters, bombers, transport aircraft, reconnaissance planes, early warning aircraft, tankers, and armed helicopters. Notable among these, besides the F-35, is the F-22 Raptor series. This is the world's first fifth-generation fighter jet. It boasts exceptional stealth capabilities, maneuverability, and world-leading avionics systems. Its only drawback is that it is difficult and expensive to manufacture. Thus, back then, it was deceived by the Dragon Nation. After concluding that China could never develop its own fifth-generation